Before I start any report that I'm going to draft, the first question I ask myself is, who is the reader? That's absolutely critical. Let me give you an example. If I'm drafting a business report and it relates to financial issues and the reader is a chartered accountant, I'm going to draft that report very, very differently to if I was drafting that report to someone who's got very limited financial expertise and maybe is a specialist in marketing. I need to draft the report to make sure I can communicate whatever issues I have in a manner that is different and suitable for the reader. A chartered accountant for financial purposes is very different to drafting a report on the same issues to someone in marketing. The second thing I ask myself is, what are the qualifications of this particular reader? And that's absolutely essential in my understanding as to where I should pitch the content. Very detailed, very, very technical, or should it be more conceptual and principles based? How familiar is my reader with the subject matter? Now, I might need to give a little bit more context when a reader is not as familiar, whereas when a reader is very, very familiar with the subject matter, I can jump into the details straight away. What sector or what company am I looking at in this regard? And again, if the reader's familiar with that sector, that company, or its business, it's a very, very different proposition to when the reader is not as familiar and a bit of education is required contextually for them. Is the reader a full-time employee of the company, or are they an external employee or an external consultant, a non-executive director, for instance? If they're an external party, there are lots of things that internal people may know and take for granted that an external party may not be aware of and may need that information, contextual as it may be and repetitive as it may be for internal users, in order to come to appropriate conclusions. So a key part of your role as a person drafting these reports is to make sure that you support the reader and the content and the manner in which it is compiled takes into account from where the reader is coming from.